Hey there, everyone. Joshua Short here with you. You are about to see our chief meteorologist as well, Matt Engelbrecht. Matt is standing by with me as well in our newsroom. If you are watching us and streaming us right now, we appreciate it. Welcome in, everyone, on this first alert weather day.
Good morning.
It is so weird to not see you in a tie and suit.
Well, so I just got done measuring the snow, and I want to tell you, this is not enough for going outside in these conditions. Even if
And you got an undershirt on.
I got layers. I got 1, 2 plus the jacket.
Yeah.
Still not enough.
Oh.
Yeah, it is cold, it is windy, and we only picked up about half an inch of snowfall. Not even worth going outside to measure because of how cold it is. It feels, I was telling Jack earlier, like a slap in the face.
Are you serious?
That kind of air.
When I walked outside, I had a scarf on, I had my coat on, I had my earmuffs because my ears get cold, obviously, and I had 2 pairs of gloves. But this is serious stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cold, obviously. We know it's wintertime here in the Midwest, so it's nothing we're not used to. But nobody is used to cold temperatures like what we're seeing now and what we're going to feel over the next several days.
Yeah, for a number of days. And the big thing here is, yes, we know it gets cold in the winter, but this only happens. I was talking to Gary Sieber yesterday, so he's an encyclopedia of weather in Michiana, every couple of years, and that's what I've noticed as well. Every couple of years, we get these cold snaps, so we have to prepare differently, mentally and physically, for these colds.
How are things feeling right now? Can you give us some perspective?
Yeah, we're looking at the wind chill down into the 20s. So remember on Monday and Tuesday when we were first alerting you to this day, these are the numbers we expected, and that is what we are reading. So the temperature combined with the wind feels like 22 below in Knox, 18 below in Plymouth, and then 19, of course, in South Bend. Cold enough for not delays, but full cancellations across Michiana in terms of school.
I want to show really quickly, if we can, this is what it looked like outside. St. Joseph County PD putting out this video. A few hours ago, snow drifting was a big concern on the bypass this morning. Talk about that. I mean, it was falling snow as well, but the drifting, the winds picking up that snow that was on the ground, right?
Yeah, and yesterday, the day before, we had bad snow drifts and people were sliding off, getting stuck in them. But remember, yesterday and the day before, we were in the 20s, we were in the 30s. So while you're waiting for help, you were still in reasonably warm conditions. I put air quotes around warm. Today is not the day that you want to go sliding off, and that threat is there. You're looking at rural roads. If they were once plowed, if they were once cleared, that wind has brought that snow right back over the top. So you go from clear roads, if you want to call it that, to the snow drifts where you get stuck.
Gotcha. I want to bring in Jack Van Meter, who's in our First Alert Weather Lab right now. Jack, we see you there. We've got a radar behind you. Can you update us on things right now and where we could go from here?
Yeah, what we're looking at through the rest of the day is temperatures to hover right around that 0-degree mark. That's exactly what we're actually seeing here in Michiana. Earlier, Matt showed you that pink and purple mat. That was actually the wind chill value. What we're looking at here is what's actually being measured on the thermometer. So it is actually 1 degree in South Bend, 0 out in LaPorte, Knox, and Winmac. Check out that right in a line, but check out Chicago, negative 11 degrees. And the reason that western communities and Chicago specifically is actually colder than us here in Michiana, well, you can see it right here on the map, that lake effect cloud cover and also some of the lake effect snow kind of acting as a bit of a thermal blanket. Now, for the rest of the day, still going to be tracking out those wind gusts. I do expect that to be a problem throughout the day, the blowing and drifting of that very fine, the very particular lake effect snow, if you will. We can't see wind gusts right around 30 miles an hour going into the afternoon. Thankfully, as we go into the evening, we are really going to let go of the strong northwesterly wind. And as soon as we actually let go of the wind gusts later on this evening, that's going to help our wind chill value and actually finally turn off the lake effect snow for the rest of the day. As for feel like values for the day, still going to be brutally cold. Yes, air temperatures are going to be bouncing between 1, 2, maybe even 3 degrees, but negative 23 degrees is going to be that feel like value at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and only rising into the lower negative teens as we go into the evening time. Finally, let's talk about some lake effect snow that we're also tracking out across Michiana. Still going to be a ever-present force throughout the afternoon. Here's a look at noontime hour. Not really going to be heavy snowfall, but it's going to be there, and it's going to be fairly persistent, especially as we linger into the afternoon. And then this evening, that's when the winds are going to start to let up. Notice the cloud cover starting to retreat out to the west, but as soon as the clouds move out of the way, that's going to let colder air sink to the ground and really drop our temperatures. We'll go ahead and stop future track tomorrow morning, where Michiana is expected to have its coldest air temperature, not actually wind chill value, but the coldest air temperature. Tomorrow morning, we have to prepare -6 degrees for that actual temperature tomorrow morning, -4 down in Plymouth. And unfortunately, we still have a first alert weather day for Sunday. We also have one for Monday. Looking at the long-term data, Josh and Matt, doesn't look like we're seeing a warming trend anytime soon.
Matt was just pointing out to me, you're talking about Chicago right now. What was that number again?
11 below.
11 below. And that tells you a lot. That tells you the story. We were talking to, and Jack, be a part of this conversation. We still have you up here. But Matt and I were talking yesterday, when it comes to schools having to make that decision on whether or not to close up or delay, we started to see delays come in yesterday, and you made a great point. Can you talk to our viewers about why that was questionable? Not to question the school districts and what their protocols are, but as a meteorologist, there was no reason in delaying at that point, right?
Right. So it had to do with just the data we were looking at on Monday and Tuesday when we were first alerting to things, and people kind of get everything. There's an order, there's a process. Right. So when you think about cancellations, you think about major snowfall events. This is not a major snowfall event. It's a lot different. We got cold air in place. So initially, when it comes to cold air delays for school districts, usually it's the morning hours.
There you go.
Wake up in the morning, a delay so that it's a little bit more comfortable in the afternoon. In this situation, we're actually colder at 2 p.m. than 7 a.m.
Counterintuitive, but that's the case.
Right. So you're thinking to yourself, why even delay? You might as well just go ahead and cancel. And it seemed like a lot of districts took that approach. They said, we'll delay first, and then we'll make sure that the first alert meteorologists are correct. And then delay the rest. So a lot of e-learning days today and a lot of snow days across the area.
Jack, if you can chime into that conversation, underscore whatever you heard there.
Yeah, and kind of going off that point, a lot of schools don't want to close outright because you got to remember, they have to make up that day. You need 180 days of school, especially in the state of Indiana. And a lot of schools are already at the point where they have canceled so much because of our very heavy snowfall events earlier on in the season. Remember in the fall, we had that event in November, and then obviously just a week ago, that massive lake effect snow event closed schools around the area. A lot of schools are starting to tack on to the end of the year, start to build at the end of May, and a few schools even starting to tap into June as well. So a lot of school districts across the area want to first delay because you don't have to make up delays. However, you do have to make up those school days. So I think that also went into the early decision making. When we issue those first alert weather days, people do take notice, and they'll put on a little mental note, if you would, like, all right, got to be watching that forecast, and it grows and grows and grows. And as that forecast evolves either one way or the other, people have to make those educated guesses. Today, I think all the school districts across Michiana, I think they did the right one by just closing up shop for the day.
I will tell you, one of the things that I've just learned too through this entire process is something that's interesting. You talked about that cap of days that you need to have in session technically, which is why a lot of these districts, they have it where if you call an e-learning day, that counts as a school day. So we've got a lot of these districts, South Bend included, they went to a synchronous, I believe a synchronous learning day today. There's synchronous and asynchronous, but basically it's an e-learning day. What that means, not to get into the minutia of it, they still have school in session. So some of those districts may not have to make up those days, but some do, as you mentioned. In fact, I think one of the schools in our district, in our area, has closed up shop today, did not have an e-learning day. They have to make up that day on President's Day. And so you start to see a lot of that as well. Really quickly, Jack, stand by. I want to show something to our viewers here. This really tells a story as well, I believe. Matt, can you talk about this? Is this air temperature we're looking at right now?
That is. That is your one syllable. One in South Bend, one in Michigan City. And that is not the city rank. That is the actual temperature across the area. We have one, but also visibility issues. That lake effect snow, a lot like what we saw on Monday, where it is a fine, almost kind of a mist. And you may have noticed this, Josh, when you drove in this morning, that it's not fog, it looks like fog, and then it almost looks like you're getting, you want to turn on the defroster for your windshield. It's that kind of different precipitation. It's not the big fluffy flakes that we typically see with lake effect snow or system snow. it's different. It feels different. And if you step outside, the atmosphere is going to let you know.
True.
It's different.
It's true. I want to show something to our friends here, especially those of you who have pets at home. We got a few people in our newsroom who've got pets at home as well.
Lauren here?
Lauren is here. I hope she heard that.
Lauren, how's Luna?
She's probably on the call.
She's
She's
cold. And
She's
it's her
cold.
birthday. It was her birthday. Luna's birthday.
Luna's birthday. Yes, get it right. Because Lauren's a Scorpio. But as for that dog, I can tell you, and dogs like it, you got to be careful, especially we don't think about that sometimes.
Right.
But I want to play this for you. This is from Jenny Brown, who's the executive director, Humane Society in St. Joe County, talking about things to use to keep your pets warm. I think we automatically believe, okay, let's just put, when they go outside, let's put something on them that's made of cloth or something else. You shouldn't do that, because when you're talking about snow drift and snow falling, that's going to be precipitation basically on those pets, and then that's going to freeze on them, right?
Right.
So you got to be careful with that. And so this is what she told our team a short time ago. Listen.
So if you are taking care of outdoor cats, or even if you have livestock, those sort of things, making sure that you're providing a lot of dry areas for them to get into, using straw, not blankets, because blankets can get wet and they'll hold all that moisture, but the straw won't, and it'll keep them insulated and warm.
So that's something that they talked about. Matt, do you have anything you want to add here?
So I was teaching the boys a couple days ago, because we knew this cold air was coming, about the dogs. We have a dog, his name's Flurry. We were taking him for a walk.
I thought that was a joke. Okay,
No,
that's the actual
his name was Flurry. We were talking and teaching them that if the snow starts to connect and starts to hold on the dog's paws, that is a sign that the dog's getting cold, especially at the feet. So the feet can no longer melt the snow. So in terms of time outside, obviously if you get cold, the dog is cold.
There you go.
But if you see the clumping on the paws, the snow clumping on the paws, that means the feet are starting to get really cold with the dog or with the pet as well.
And that could be dangerous. Jack, I'm going to bring you into the conversation, buddy. You were showing us some maps here. Is there anything of importance that can really help tell this weather story for people at home? Because it is not just cold, it is bitter cold, and it's dangerously cold for a lot of people as well. And we're not saying that to scare you, but to make sure you're prepared. So what's that 10-day right there behind you?
Yeah, I was about to say, I think this kind of sums up our forecast, at least for this weekend, and then kind of showcases the end of the month as well. We can't see air temperatures. Again, that's what we're showing here. We're not showing the feel-like value. We're showing the actual scientific air temperature throughout the rest of the weekend. 8 degrees for that high temperature tomorrow, 12 degrees for the high temperature on Sunday. So we are seeing the continuation of cold lasting throughout the weekend. And just yesterday, it was, or maybe I think it was on Wednesday, I might be wrong there, that we also added Monday as another first alert weather day. Because as we warm up on Sunday, I know it's kind of funny, I'm saying warm and we're only getting to 12 degrees on Sunday's forecast. We're then getting another shot of cold and Arctic air moving into Michiana on Monday. And Monday almost looks to mirror our air temperatures and mirror those feel-like values that we're currently seeing now. So that'll also be a story, if you will, that we'll be watching rather closely to see what schools and what a lot of local communities will be doing come Monday morning.
Can you talk about that Monday really quickly, why it was important to add that as a first alert weather day?
Oh, absolutely. We're pretty much seeing, like I said, a mirror of today's forecast. Our high temperature that we forecast today was at 0 degrees. That's exactly what we're also going to be seeing on Monday. Monday also has the potential of more accumulation of lake effect snow. Anytime you're getting another cold blast moving into Michiana and actually moving over Lake Michigan, got to remember, Lake Michigan, the water temperature a few degrees warmer than the air temperature, and anytime you have that temperature difference, you're going to have a transfer of energy. Obviously, energy from the water going into the cold energy of the sky. And then we are going to be having a...
Is that what that is? Oh, okay.
Yeah, convective lifting, it's all that stuff there. 60% chance of lake effect snow on Monday, in addition to those brutally cold wind chill values. Still looking at wind chill values in the range of -20 to -25 across the entirety of Michiana. Next week, though, thankfully, yeah, it's still going to be cold, but it looks like the wind chill values are going to let up just because the wind is not going to be a major factor as of now as we go into the middle portion of next week.
Okay, stand by on that, Matt. I want you to talk a little bit if you can. You talked about all those first alert weather days. Those are important. Talk about, for those who are watching for the first time, who may have just moved to our area, first alert, that is important. That's just to make sure our viewers know something's coming or there's something that's important for you to be aware of.
Important, but also that's going to change the way you go about your day. That is one of the reasons on Sunday and Monday we're issuing first alert weather days for your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Because again, you have to prepare for this cold differently than you would just a normal winter day in and across Michiana. And it starts here. What you see on your screen there, it starts here, and then we're looking at a major winter storm unfolding across the United States this weekend. But everything comes back with this cold air starting things off here in Michiana. And again, we talk about different ways to stay warm. We actually got some great advice earlier this morning on the morning show about space heaters.
Yeah.
Space heaters are used to warm you up for that moment. They should not be used to warm your house for an extended period of time. You shouldn't be using them overnight, and obviously you want to make sure that they stay upright. Some of the newer ones, if they tip over, they automatically shut off. But a lot of fires start with the older ones that if they tip over and if they fall, they can ignite and start something tragic in these kind of conditions, which would be a house fire.
Jack, if I can ask you, you're not on just yet. If you can show that radar, maybe a bigger picture of where we are in terms of that storm that's coming for the south and parts of our area on Sunday. If you could prepare that for a second. I want to show some folks some new video just in here. This is what folks have to do. We're in-house right now talking to you about the cold. There are people who don't have a choice but to be out in it. These are some crews that are working right now, not too far down from where we are on Angela near Michigan. Look at this. I mean, they have to work in this, right? And one can only imagine how long they are exposed to this and the dangers that come with it as well.
Right. Looking at the numbers, we saw the ones, but we also saw the wind chill 20, 25 below zero. You step outside and you may feel like, I mean, being Michiana, tough guy syndrome, you feel like you can handle this, but after 10 to 15 minutes, any exposed skin can cause frostbite. And again, it is very dangerous. Once we get up to about 30 to 45 minutes, any exposed skin is going to go ahead and take on some frostbite characteristics.
Students going to school still. There are some universities and colleges that had delays, did not close, obviously, so that's important to keep that in mind. There are people who are working out there, crews who are shoveling right outside of our station.
Yeah, smile though.
I mean, that's what I'm talking. We're smiling too, buddy. Thank you for doing this for us. I want to go to Matt really quickly as you're seeing some of the workers out there, again, which we appreciate all of you who have to do that. I want to go back to Matt, to Jack, if I can. And Jack, tell me about what we're going to be seeing over the next several days in terms of this big storm everyone's talking about.
Yeah, the big storm that's on social media right now, Josh, it's all the rage in the world. It's from everything from an inch, 2 inches of ice, and also we're also watching for the fact of accumulating snow upwards of a foot, which obviously that's going to be a big problem for anywhere, but especially for areas in the south where they're actually not anticipated or not usually used to that amount of snowfall. The system is just starting to form down in the Four Corner states. We have to go all the way out to Texas, Oklahoma, parts of New Mexico, and Arizona as well. What we're actually finally seeing is some of that Gulf moisture advecting up from the Gulf, and it's actually meeting with a center of low pressure that was actually out in the Pacific Ocean right off the coast of Southern California. That area of low pressure has now trekked through portions of California, Arizona, now is residing in New Mexico, and we can say it's starting to get some moisture with it. And also check this out, just to the north of El Paso, Texas, we are seeing that freezing line starting to form where some of the rain showers are actually starting to turn into snow showers. Of course, that's happening in higher elevations with the southern extent of the Rocky Mountains, but what we're actually going to be watching for is as this system starts to turn, as it starts to actually build up more and more energy, it's going to move to the north. And when it moves to the north, it's going to be hitting all of this cold air that's up in the northern plains from the Dakotas going all the way to Wisconsin. Notice the lack of cloud cover there? That's actually because of high pressure. High pressure usually attracts cold air, especially this time of the year. So when all of this moisture starts to move up, it's hitting the cold air, freezing, and trekking across the country. What does that mean for us here in Michiana? Well, Future Track is thankfully going to just clip us with the system. So are we going to be seeing a foot of snow? Are we seeing crazy ice storms? And I've been seeing this too on social media. Are we going to see exploding trees? Are you crazy? No, we're not going to be seeing any of that whatsoever. But we are going to be watching for a dusting upwards of 4, maybe even 5 inches of system snow that is going to be lasting throughout the day on Sunday. Look at Sunday at 5 o'clock. Notice how that system's starting to turn off to the northeast, and that's what we're watching for Monday. One of the main reasons why Monday is a first alert weather day, in addition to the cold temperatures. You saw that lake effect starting to set up when we had the northwest winds that'll bring the cold air back. More importantly, bring the lake effect snow back. So we are looking at limited impacts as opposed to those folks down in Cincinnati, Kentucky, and portions of Tennessee. You got to pay close attention to those folks over the weekend.
There is this rare phenomenon that happens where it gets cold really rapidly in the south and in places that are warm, that trees or the trunks of trees may crack. But we're not going to see a symphony orchestra of trees cracking throughout the United States.
Well, and we're all exposed to it here. If you leave a water bottle, if you leave some pop in your car in these kind of conditions, what happens?
They
expand. It expands, right. Same situation as when we drop those temperatures so quickly where there's a lot of water in the trees that the water expands, and that causes things to crack, or as some people say on social media, explode.
Or explode. I want to show how it feels outside right now really quickly, guys. Jack, stand by for me. This is
you don't need data.
You don't need this. Just walk out?
Don't walk out. Yeah, it's cold. And I haven't seen these numbers move from this morning. This morning we started off down below 0. Last night at 10 o'clock, we were in the First Alert Weather Center monitoring, okay, when are we going to drop down? Last night at 10 p.m., we went down below 0 with the wind chill. And the reason why that number is so significant is we're not coming back above 0 with the wind chill until Monday.
Wow, just like that.
Just like that.
So keep in mind, there could be some delays or closings on Monday as well because of these cold temperatures. Right. Jack, I want to begin to wrap up here. I want to go back to you if there's any last words you want to have for folks, because we're going to be here all day for you. We're going to be holding your hands. We want to make sure that you are prepared, that you are safe as well as things change. We're going to be there for you, and that's why we got the free app as well. But Jack, is there anything that I'm missing that I didn't mention?
Well, the one thing I'd like to correct Matt on, actually, I apologize. I apologize, Matt. You said temperatures really hasn't changed, and I got to refute that.
Go ahead.
Out in Chicago, they were at minus 32 an hour ago. Now they're only at minus 31, so, we're getting better out there. That's all I have.
So he's being a scientist. he's being a scientist.
He's been a scientist.
Off air, I'd call him no. Yeah, a degree or two, and again, Josh, we started talking about this very early on, is that the afternoon is going to be colder than the morning. And again, it's counterintuitive, like you were saying, the way we're going about our day, but a cold day start to finish.
I think I want to show some more video. I believe we have here in just a moment. We've got some sound from some folks who are out in this weather, who have no choice but to be at this moment. I want to play that just to give you a little bit more of a human perspective on all this. This was shot literally in the last 45 minutes. I'm going to show this and then we'll wrap up after.
I'm shoveling snow for a neighbor so nobody slips and falls.
And just talk about how cold it is and how you're just staying.
Well, it keeps you warm shoveling, but standing here I'm getting cold. So working keeps you warm. But have a good day.
How do you keep warm?
I got about 5 layers of clothes on. I have deep Arctic thermal underwear and fleece thermal underwear on.
What's your advice to people out there?
Stay home and stay inside.
It's really cold. We obviously wear layers, a lot of them. This is obviously get better, but yeah, it's cold. Stay warm and stay inside, and we're trying to restore services. I'll keep it on. That's basically our goal. So.
And just talk about, you probably have mandatory breaks and stuff. What's the guidelines for all that?
Absolutely. Right now we're just doing strictly emergencies and trying to stay inside a truck or in the office for now. When something happens, we roll multiple, at least on 2 trucks and rotate every few minutes to make sure that we are hot in the cold weather.
And just how cold is it out here?
It is pretty cold. It's probably 0 degrees right now. So.
And that's the thing, Matt. I wanted to bring that up really quickly before we go. Once it gets to a certain level of cold, it doesn't matter how far in the negatives you get, it's just freezing.
Right, but the body is going to try to make up that difference. And when we talk about long time, they're taking frequent breaks. And the reason we do that, I advise you to take frequent breaks. Even if it's just shoveling, you got to get that core temperature back up. And that takes a lot longer than what it takes for it to come down. So if you're outside for 15 minutes, you want to spend 30 minutes to an hour inside to allow your core temperature to come back up before you go back outside. And you say they were taking frequent breaks. You also noticed I mentioned it, his eyelashes.
That's true.
Already frozen.
Yeah.
His eyelashes already had
it's a good look for him.
Some ice on there. It is cold.
Friday, you can see right behind Jack there just how cold it is, and it's going to get throughout the day. So this is why we're going to be with you throughout the day as well, on everywhere you get your streaming, as well as on WNDU.com, as well as on Channel 16 here in the South Bend Elkhart DMA, wherever you're watching us here locally. Jack, we appreciate you. Matt, thank you. We're going to see you guys soon, and literally every hour we're going to be catching you up on everything that's happening out there, including more perspective from people, real people who have to be in it. You're not going to see this coverage anywhere else, and that's why it's important to be with you streaming here as well. We appreciate you watching. Thank you guys. Stay warm. I think the best way to stay safe is to stay inside, obviously. But if you can't, if you got to be out there, take precaution and be safe, everybody. We will see you here very, very soon.